Hello everybody, Sir Beaton here and welcome back to another Past Paper video. In this video, I will be tackling some bearings questions. So let's head straight into these questions. So the instruction is, the diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows the position of 3 points P, Q, and R. So you have the diagram showing the 3 points and it says Q is 80 km from P, R is 100 km from Q on a bearing of 066 degrees, and angle PQR is 54 degrees. So the question is to calculate the bearing of P from Q. So the important thing of bearings, we look at where it's coming from, and that is where the bearing will be. So from is the important word. So the bearing of P, which is there, from Q. So from here, we draw up the north line and we go all the way to P. So let's see what they told us. They told us that R is 100 km from Q. So we know this is R on a bearing of 066. So we know the bearing of R from Q is 066 degrees. So we know here it would be 066 degrees. So we go all the way around here. So from the north line to R is 066 degrees. So if you want the bearing of P from Q, so we go all the way around here. So to get this bearing here, we see we'll just add 66 plus 54. That would give us 120 degrees. So here this would be 120 degrees. As easy as that, 120 degrees. Next one, they want us to calculate the distance PR to 2 decimal places. So they want us to find the distance PR, which is here, to 2 decimal places. So let me just erase this piece of work until I get some space. So the distance PR will be here. So what I can do, let me label this here, let me label this triangle using the points here. So we know here is Q. So we know opposite Q would be common Q. We know here is capital P. So opposite that would be common P, and we know here is R, so opposite R would be common R. So basically, want us to find for side Q. So we know we can come up with the formula where we can use the formula, the cosine formula, which says, since we want to find Q, we can say Q squared is equal to the other two sides, which would be P squared plus R squared, subtract 2 PR, all multiplied by cos Q. So now this will be Q squared is equal to P, which is 100 squared, plus R squared, which is 80 squared, minus 2 times P, which is 100, multiplied by R, which is 80, times cos Q, which is 54. So now this will be Q squared is equal to, and we square 100, we get 10,000 plus, when we squared 80, we'll get 6,400. Subtract 2 times 100 times 80 would give me 16,000 multiplied by cos 54. So what I can do, I can multiply everything here by cos 54. So I can treat this 16,000 as a negative 16,000 multiplied by cos 54, and that would give me Q squared is equal to 10,000 plus 6,400, subtract 9,404.56, and now we can work this out. I can punch this in my calculator, so I'll have 10,000 plus 64,000 minus 9,404.56. Hence, that would give me Q squared is equal to 6,995.44. So hence Q would be equal to the square here. I take over become the square root of 6,995.44. Hence Q would be equal to 83.639. And it said they wanted the answer correct to 2 decimal places, so I can say Q is equal to 83.64 cm. I can even answer this better to say that PR is equal to 83.64 cm. And that would be the answer for PR. So next part says, calculate the measure of angle QPR to the nearest degree. So they want us to calculate the angle of angle QPR. Let me just write QPR. So QPR would be this angle here. So what I can do, I can put in, we found here to be 83.64. So let's calculate this angle now. So you want to find angle P. So we have a triangle. So let's see. We have this angle and we have the side corresponding to that angle. We have this side and we want to find the side corresponding to that angle. So what we can do, we can use the sine rule. So we can say P over sine P is equal to, and let's see, we have Q and side R, so we can say Q over sine Q. So let's put in what we know. So we know P is 100, so it's 100 over sine P, which is what we want to find, is equal to Q, which is this here, so 83.64. So 83.64 all divided by sine Q, which is sine 54. So we do some cross multiply, so it will be 83.64 multiplied by sine P is equal to 100 multiplied by sine 54. And then we can say sine P is equal to, this is 100 times sine 54, all divided by, this here is multiply, we take it over, divide, all divided by 83.64. So I can punch all of this in my calculator. So 100 multiplied by sine 54, and then I divide that answer by 83.64. This will give me sine P is equal to 0.967, and hence P would be equal to sine inverse 0.967. And if I punch this in my calculator, second function sine 0.967, that would give me, so I'll do my working right here. So I'd say P would be equal to the nearest degree, I would say 75 degrees. So here is equal to 75 degrees. So to answer the question, I can say angle QPR is equal to 75 degrees. And with that, this has brought me to the end of this video. I trust that you have a good understanding of this question, and I'll see you in the next one, in which I'll be tackling some more. Until then, keep practicing.